Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I'm a little late to this game, but I'm gonna do the mid-year book freakout tag because it's still summer, like it's still the middle of the year, so I think this still counts. And yes, I'm very behind on my reading, but I'm steadily catching up. I will leave the original tag to this down below. I don't know if anybody tagged me in this, but I'm gonna do it regardless because I want to. I feel like doing a tag, so that's what I'm gonna do. Let's just get into it. So I'm gonna try and not use the same book for multiple answers, so I'm gonna kind of like stretch myself here, but I pretty much don't want to use ACOWAR for every single answer. That's the goal here. Let's see how I do. So question number 1. What is the best book that you've read so far this year? So far, that is A Quiet Kind of Thunder. This book just is so good. I know that I haven't talked about this in a wrap-up. It's coming. This is by Sarah Bernard, and this is just the best representation of anxiety that I've ever read. It's a really cute contemporary, but it just took me by surprise, and it was so dang good. Question 2 is the best sequel that you've read in 2017, and that has to be Waking Gods by Sylvain Neuvel, the sequel to Sleeping Giants. You have heard me rave time and time again about the series, but if you haven't read it, seriously read it. But this book was just so good. It's so good. Question 3 is a new release that came out this year that you have not gotten to yet, and that is Defy the Stars. Granted, I have endless new releases sitting on my shelves that I haven't gotten to yet, but I'm working my way through them. But this is probably my most anticipated one that I just really want to get to. Question 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that has to be Tower of Darkness. Like, pretty much any Sarah J. Maas book is going to be my most anticipated book of the year. I know this is only going to be kind of like a standalone companion type thing, like taking place during the same time period as the last book, but it's still going to be Sarah J. Maas writing, and it's still going to be characters that I know, so yes. Question 5 is your biggest disappointment, and for me, this is The Age of Myth. This I don't think came out in 2017, but I read it in the beginning of 2017, and it just had so much hype surrounding it. I knew so many people who read it and loved it, and I just couldn't jump on the bandwagon. I just wasn't feeling it. It kind of dragged the whole time, and maybe had I read his other books, I might have gotten into it more, but this one just fell flat for me. Question 6 is the biggest surprise, and for me, that is The Diabolic. This I know didn't come out this year. It came out at the end of last year, I believe, but I read it at the beginning of this year and was just so pleasantly surprised by it. It was just so much better than I thought it would be. And I know that I was kind of judging it based on the cover and the publicity that it was getting, but it was just really well done. And I'm really glad that I actually got myself to read it because I feel like I would have missed out on this like hidden gem of a book. It was just so well done as far as like sci-fi aspects. Really good. Question 7 is favorite new author. Can be a debut author or new to you. And for me, that is Cora Carmack. This is an author that I've been wanting to read her new adult series for a very long time, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So she came out with a YA fantasy, and it is just so good. I'm just living for it, and now I want to read all of her books. Like, guys, it's up there with Sarah J. Maas in my mind. I know a lot of people had some issues with it. I adored it. It was so good. Question 8 is newest fictional crush, and I know that I wasn't going to use the same book twice, but I'm going to go with Locke from Roar, because I could say Reese, but that's not new. That's been around for a while. But Locke is just great. I just adored him in this book. So I used this twice, but it was for different things. One was about the story, one was about the author. It counts. Question 9 is newest favorite character, and I'm gonna use the same book twice. I know I said I wasn't gonna do this specifically about this book, but Briaxis? Yes. I don't know if that's how you say it, but pretty much the demon that lives in the library in the Night Court. Yes. Just yes. I adored him. I want to know more about him. I'm pretty sure it's a him though. I just wanted so much more from that, and I just want to hang out with him and read books in the library. And question 10, I'm gonna use it again, is a book that made you cry. This one, I mean, it was happy tears, it was sad tears, it was anxious tears, just all of the tears. I just was not prepared for this book to end, and then it did. That happened. It ended, and it was over. Tears were shed. Book that made you happy, and that is definitely Eliza and Her Monsters. I just finished this. I binge read this in one day, and I like stupid smiled the entire time. Like, I was so emotionally invested and I just adored this story the entire way through. It just made me so happy. Question 12 is your favorite book to movie adaptation that you've seen this year, and looking back, I really don't know if I've watched any, but let me tell you about a movie that we watched that I swear it was a book. Like, I looked it up and it says that it is just a movie, but it feels very much like a YA book that should have been turned into a movie, and that is The Edge of 17. I feel like this movie did not get the hype that it deserved. I think primarily because it was based around the high school crowd and very young teenagers, but it was rated R. So I feel like a lot of the audience that would have appreciated it either couldn't get in to see it or just didn't see it. But I loved it. It was so well done, and it was so real to how teenagers talk and interact, and I'm guessing that's why it was rated R, just because guess what? Teenagers drop the F-bomb all the time, and you can only do that so much in PG-13 movies. But I know that that was not a book. If it was, correct me, because I feel like it should have been, or that it was. I don't know. Just watch the movie. It was really, really good. Question 13 is favorite review that you've done so far, booktube or written. I don't really know. I haven't really done that many solo reviews this year. I actually have been really slacking even just doing written reviews on Goodreads for myself, because I like to like kind of leave reminders for myself. But I just kind of have slacked off. So I'm gonna say probably some wrap-up that I filmed in like January, because that's back when I was doing wrap-ups. Okay, that is all. Question 14 is the most beautiful book that you have received this year, and that has to be this. The Ravenclaw edition of the 20th anniversary Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Just, yes. It's so great. It's so pretty and Ravenclawish, just look at it. And question 15, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And I'm gonna say all of them. As far as my reading challenge goes, I always challenge myself to read 100 books, and for the past 3, I want to say this is the 4th or 5th year that I'm doing it. I've succeeded for all of the past years, and this is the first year that I'm like really struggling with it, and I think it's just because I don't have that much free time, and a lot of my reading I used to get done while I was at work, and now I can't do that. So I'm struggling with like making time to read this year. I think I'm 13 books behind on my reading challenge, which is like a huge gap to cover, but I am like coming back. I was like 20 something books behind a couple weeks ago. Needless to say, I have been getting back into the swing of things. I'm literally like binge reading books in one sitting, so I'm reading almost a book a day right now, so it's gonna happen. Specific books? I don't know. There's some series that I really want to get to. I really want to read the Grisha trilogy and the Six of Crows duology really badly. So I'm gonna say I need to read those by the end of this year. That's a goal. That's it. Other than that, just kind of work on the books that I own, because I own a lot that I haven't read, so work through those. That's gonna be a goal. Do that. So that is it for this video. I will leave the challenge link down below for the original video and the questions if you would like to partake in this. It's a little late, but I'm still considering July the middle of the year. It's still the middle of summer. In my mind, that's the middle of the year. So basically, that is it. I am going to go. I hope you guys are reading some amazing books, and I'll see you in my next video.